1212.
Whitehall 1212.
This is Scotland Yard.
For the first time in history, Scotland Yard opens its official files to bring you the true stories of some of its most baffling cases.
These are the true stories, the plain, unvarnished facts, just as they occurred, reenacted for you by an all-British cast. Only the names of the participants have, for obvious reasons, been changed. The broadcasts are presented with the full cooperation of Scotland Yard.
Research on Whitehall 1212 is finished by Percy Hoskins of the London Daily Express. The stories for radio are written and directed by Willis Cooper. The voice you will now hear is that of Chief Superintendent John Davidson, custodian of Scotland Yard's famous Black Museum.
Good afternoon. Police officials from every part of the civilized world come to see us here at New Scotland Yard. Many of them are old friends of ours, of course. There are few enough police forces with whom Scotland Yard has not been in contact. The Sûreté of France, the American FBI, Canada's famous RCMP. We're all enlisted in the war against crime. And as the Bible says, state chapter of Ecclesiastes, 3rd verse, there is no discharge in that war. We have an interesting visitor with us today. He came to glance at the exhibits here in case number 202131. Here, a doctor's instrument case, and a pair of child's rompers. These, with certain other objects which were later given Christian burial, were important objects in that case. And our visitor is the man who had so much to do with solving the case, Captain Lionel Watt, the former Chief Constable of Lancaster.
I must tell you at once that this was a matter for the Lancaster Constabulary and the police of Dumfriesshire in Scotland. Purely, let us say, a local matter.
No, Scotland Yard was not engaged in this case at all. Captain Watt and his people solved this most baffling case themselves.
Yes, so far as I'm able to discover, we have only one procedure that's precisely like Scotland Yard's, John.
And that is?
We patronize the same hangman. 2 miles north of the town of Moffat, which is in Dumfriesshire in Scotland, the main road from Carlisle to Edinburgh crosses the ravine where a small stream, Gardenholme Lynn, runs to the River Annan through a remarkably peaceful countryside. On the morning of the 29th of September, some years ago, several crudely wrapped bundles were observed lying on the banks of the ravine below the road. From one of the bundles protruded a naked human arm. The Dumfriesshire Constabulary naturally investigated. What they found added up to confusion as well as to horror. I was in the Moffat police station when Sergeant Barnes made his first report.
4 bundles. One wrapped in the Daily Herald, the London Labourite newspaper, for 5th August this year. The second wrapped in a pillow slip. The third in a portion of cotton sheeting. And the fourth in another piece of sheeting, tied up with what appears to be the hem torn from the sheet. All the bundles contained pieces of people, to which straw was adhering, and a large quantity of cotton wool also. Quite neat. As nearly as we can tell, there are parts of at least 2 bodies. It's impossible at present to identify them. It's impossible even to determine the sex of the bodies, or their approximate ages. By the appearance of the bodies, the medical officer thinks that they've been dead about 2 weeks, but he doesn't know for certain. He's sorting them out now.
During the week, other parcels were discovered along the course of Gardenholme Lynn and along the banks of the River Annan, all on the Scottish side of the border, outside my bailiwick. These parcels, which also contained portions of human bodies, were wrapped in pages of the Sunday Graphic for the 15th of September, and in pages of other newspapers, unidentifiable because of bloodstains. I had a telephone call.
Sergeant Barnes speaking at Moffat, sir.
Oh, hello, Sergeant. What's up?
We don't think our friends are Scottish, sir.
What's that?
Don't think they're Scottish.
What friends? What?
The dead people, sir. The ones we found. We don't think they're Scottish folk.
Well, that's quite a statement, Sergeant. When you can't even tell whether they're male or female.
Well, sir, we've been making inquiries ever since the first parcel was found. And according to our records, there hasn't been anybody missing in Dumfriesshire in 11 years who's not accounted for.
Well, that doesn't prove that...
There was a carnival at Morecambe about 2 weeks before we found the...
well, now, what's that got to do with it?
Well, I telephoned the Herald office in London, sir, and they printed a special edition of slip sheets with pictures of the Morecambe Carnival.
Oh, yes, that's right.
They printed 5,370 copies, and it was all sold with the Sunday Herald of 15th September, either in Morecambe, which is right alongside you, or in Lancaster, which is where you are, sir.
Do you mind telling me what all this has got to do with your latest discovery, Sergeant?
Oh, not at all, sir. I thought you'd understand. The latest discoveries was wrapped up in those special pages, sir.
I at once put our people onto their missing persons lists to discover what missing persons had been reported about the 15th of September who had not yet been found.
From Morecambe, sir. They've had nobody missing since September 11th, before season closed at Seaside. 2 persons, trippers from York, missing on that day, but bodies were recovered on following day. Both were drowned. That's all, sir.
How about Lancaster?
None unaccounted for within the specified period, sir. Unless you want to count this one, though she's not really missing.
Who?
Name Maggie Rowlandson, maid-servant. She's not been officially reported missing. But her stepfather's been around mumbling about a complaint.
What about?
Well, sir, it's one of them there things. The girl went away with her mistress and they haven't come back, that's all.
Where'd they go?
Edinburgh, husband says, sir.
Oh, she's married.
Mistress, husband.
Well, tell him to make the wife send the girl back.
I did, sir. And he wrote, but he hasn't had any reply yet. I gather the wife got fed up with him and walked out, taking the maid along for company.
Huh.
They'll be back.
That all?
That's all, sir.
Well, keep on checking up on missing persons, though what can be done, I'm sure I don't know.
No, sir.
I think that sergeant over there at Moffat's is daft. Anyone could have got hold of a copy of that special edition of the Herald.
Yes, sir.
It's his affair. Let him work it out his way. We've plenty to do.
Yes, sir.
Well, thanks very much anyway. Keep your eyes open.
Yes, sir.
Oh, I say, I suppose it is our job to check up on things.
Yes, sir, that's right.
Whether it makes much sense or not. What's this chap's name whose wife's gone? Well, I'll have a chat with him and see what can be done about getting this girl back to her parents. Fat chance, I expect.
Name's, Dr. John Hakim, sir. 2 Dalton Square.
Funny name.
Hindu or Parsi or something, I think, sir.
Well, I'll go see the blighter on my way home. It's quite all right. Go ahead.
Right, sir.
What here? What here?
Sir, this is Sergeant Barnes at Moffat over in Dumfriesshire.
Hello, Barnes.
We're almost certain now, sir, about the bodies.
Certain? Well, what did you find out?
Well, sir, there's 2 professors of forensic medicine staying here at the hotel in Moffat from Glasgow University, sir.
Yeah?
And they were invited to look at the remains. They and the medical officer here think they can be put them back together.
Good. Then you'll be able to identify them.
Well, they're not so sure about that, sir, seeing the condition of them. But what I called you about was to tell you can narrow down whatever search you're making there.
I was going to tell you I haven't found any persons missing here, so your theory is...
Not missing persons, sir.
What did you say?
It's missing women.
Women?
Aye. The doctors are certain, sir, they were both women.
I felt rather a fool about doing it. But my conscience, if that's who it was, kept mumbling in my ear about leaving no stone unturned, so I stopped my car as near to the door of 2 Dalton Place as I could and went to call on Dr. John Hakim. The bell was apparently out of order. It was a good 5 minutes before my pounding on the door was answered.
The doctor ain't home, sir.
Oh, isn't he?
He's committing an operation on an impacted wisdom tooth, sir.
Oh? Then he's a dentist.
Licentiated Dentistry, University of Bombay, sir.
I thought he was a doctor.
Bachelor of Medicine, University of Lucknow, sir.
He's an Indian.
A Parsi, sir. Whatever that is. But he won't be back till quite late, so I'm not to take any appointments for him for the day.
Are you the,
I'm the charwoman.
Well, I'm very anxious to see the doctor. I'm Captain Watt.
Mrs. Music. Mrs. Pamela Music.
Huh? Who?
That's my name, sir.
Oh. Well, I was quite anxious to see the doctor.
Well, I'm in the doctor's confidence, sir. If there was anything...
I am Chief Constable of Lancaster, Mrs. Music.
Cool. What's he done, sir?
Nothing, so far as I know.
Well, then, what do you want to see him about?
Well, I'm afraid that's my business and his, my dear madam.
Madam, me I? You want to ask him about his wife, don't you, sir?
I wonder if you could tell me anything about him.
I'm afraid that's his business and mine, my dear sir.
Will you tell the doctor, please, that I'd be glad if he'd get in touch with me at the town hall, my office?
Has Mrs. Iron Mighty Dr. Hakim been making trouble?
Why should she make trouble?
Well, she's made plenty before. Though it's not my affair, I'm sure. What's she want now, sir?
I'm afraid I shall have to discuss that with the doctor. If you'll be good enough to tell him that I called, please.
Yes, sir.
Would you know where Mrs. Hakim is at present?
I do not.
Does the doctor know?
Well, of course he knows.
And do you know if Maggie Rowlandson is with her, the maid?
Well, I know she should be right here, doing her share of this work, the lazy... Well...
How long has she been gone?
Oh, since that Sunday the carnival at Morecambe closed.
The 15th of September.
I think it was. They'd been to Morecambe that Saturday night for the last day of it.
Mrs. Hakim and
the
maid.
doctor told me when I come to work on Monday the missus had walked out on Sunday morning, taking Maggie with her. This is the longest time she's been away.
Oh, this has happened before, eh? Where does she usually go?
She's got a sister in Edinburgh. She visits.
What's her name?
Mrs. Alexander MacArthur. Darling Edie. She's a twin of Mrs. Hakim, and I don't like her. Poor dear doctor. I hope she don't never come back this time. You'll be better off.
Why?
Nag and nag and nag. And that used to be a barmaid right here in town before he met her. And him eating his heart out for her. Oh, well, you'll excuse me, sir, but I've got to get back to work. I'll tell the doctor you called, but don't you tell him what I've said now, mind you, sir. Here now, give us a hand with this carpet before you go, huh?
Express message dispatched to the Edinburgh Police by Chief Constable Lionel Watt of Lancaster.
Most urgently request you make contact with Mrs. Alexander MacArthur, Edinburgh. Requesting having her sister, Mrs. Jan Hakim of this city, get in touch with me at once. Also discover whether Mrs. Hakim's maidservant, Maggie Rowlandson, is there with her. Information most urgently desired. Watt, Chief Constable Lancaster.
Sergeant Barnes of Moffat telephoned me.
Sergeant Barnes here, sir.
Oh, good morning, Sergeant.
Good morning, sir. Did you have any luck?
We found 2 women who seem to be missing. Yes, Sergeant, but further inquiry has discovered them for us. They're visiting in Edinburgh, that's all. You had any luck?
Those 2 professors I told you about, sir. They seem quite delighted with what they've accomplished.
Putting the bodies back together.
Bodies? You should have seen them, sir.
I did, thanks. Any clues?
They said one of the bodies was a young woman. The others older, about 35, Dr. Fairley said. One of them had red hair, the young one, he said.
Red hair?
Yes, sir. And there's a part of the upper left forearm of the younger one that can't be found.
What's that mean, Barnes?
Well, Dr. Fairley thinks there was some kind of identifying mark.
Oh.
A scar or something. And the murderer, whoever he was smart enough to remove it. Real neat. Professional job, too, sir. Just as neat as if a doctor or a surgeon had done it. Dr. Fairley says.
Come in.
Dr. Hawkins, sir.
What?
Dr. Hawkins here.
Oh. Have him come in, please.
What do you say, sir?
I've got a visitor, Barnes.
Oh, I'm sorry, sir.
I'll talk to you later. Goodbye.